Hello and welcome back to Get Great at Maths. I'm here to help you pass your maths exam, so hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to look at keywords, key formulas and how to gain top marks. So let's get ready to get great at maths. This is a question on time. The keywords in the question are you're told that you've got to circle the clock that is 5 minutes past 11. So there are 4 clocks been drawn here, so number 1, 2, 3 and 4, and you've got to identify which one of these 4 clocks is 5 past 11, and you must circle the clock that it is. This will give you 1 mark in the exam. So your key facts. Write the numbers around the edge of the clock. So don't be put off that it is written in Roman numerals. You know what a clock looks like. You know 12 is at the top, 6 is at the bottom, 3 is on the right and 9 is on the left. You know that. So you know what the numbers are in between here. So just write them around the edge to help you. Check out all 4 times. So make sure the choice that you have made out of these 4 is definitely correct. Make sure you know what each of these 4 times are. Each large number, so when you come around to a large number, so from 12 to 1, it is worth 5 minutes. So in between each of these gaps, it is equivalent to 5 minutes. Past are the numbers on the right. So when you're going past, it is how many past it is, and you're looking at the large hand, tells you how many past. So if you look on this first one here, you can see you were at 5 past because this is a longer hand. So this is 5 minutes past. And then on the 2, it's the opposite side. So it's coming up on the other side. So over here, okay, this is on the 11, 10, 9 side. When it's on this side, it is 5, 2. So the longest hand is what you look at. You look at the long hand and you can see that that is 5, 2. So you've got to determine which one is 5 past 11. Remember, the shorthand points to the number here, the 11, and the 5 past is the long hand. So just make sure you know the difference between which hand is which. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. So hopefully you've decided which clock it is. So we're going to start off with the top clock up here, and we're going to put the numbers in to start with. So I'm just going to go around the edge, and I've got the number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you can see these Roman numerals have been written upside down. So if it helps you, you can turn your page around, which is why I said it's useful to write the numbers around the side so you don't get confused with what the numbers are. 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 at the top. You should know what the numbers of the clock look like. It doesn't matter whether they're written in Roman numerals or even if there are gaps there and they've just put a dot there, because you should know what those numbers are. But if you need to, write in the numbers to help you. Some of you won't need to write in those numbers, that's fine. But if you do need to write the numbers in, write them down. So we're going to look at this first time here. So we're looking at the long hand, and the long hand is on the number 1, which is 5 minutes. It is on the right of the 12, so this is 5 past the hour. So this is going to be 5 past, and this little hand is pointed to the number 2, so this is 5 past 2. We're looking for 5 past 11, so this one is not correct. We'll go to this next one here, again looking at the long hand. The long hand is still pointing to the number 1, so the same as it was here, so this is also 5 past. But the little hand is now pointed to the number up here, which is this number over here, the number 11. So this one is 5 past 11. We're just going to check out the other 2 times just to check that you haven't made a mistake. So this time the long hand is pointing here, and this is 5, 2. Okay, so this is on the left hand side of the 12. So this is coming up to the hour, to the 12. So this is 5, 2, and the shorthand is pointed to number 1. So this is 5 to 1. This one here, the long hand is pointed to the number 2. This is not the number 11, so that's why some people might get confused there, because there's 2 1s, thinking it's the number 11, 5 past 11, which is why it's written in Roman numerals. This isn't 5 past 11. Okay, this long hand is pointed to the number 2, which is 5 10 minutes past, and then the little hand is pointed to 1, so this is actually 10 past 1. But people could get confused thinking that this was 5 past 11. Especially when it's written in Roman numerals, because you've got the number 11 written there, but actually it's the number 2, which is why it helps writing the numbers around the outside. So the one you should have circled is the one for 5 past 11, which is the one in the top right hand corner. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows to award 1 mark for circling the correct clock, which is this clock here in the top right that has been highlighted, for 1M, which means 1 method mark. It does say accept alternative unambiguous positive indications of the correct answer. So for example, if you ticked it, or you've underlined it, or you've put a square around it, or you've coloured it in, you've done something different to show that this is the correct answer, you didn't read the word circle, you would still be correct. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on ordering negative numbers. Now the key words of the question are that you've got to write temperatures that have been given here in order, and you've got to start with the lowest. So it tells you over here on the left hand side this is the lowest, so you've got to put the 5 temperatures that you can see here in order from smallest to largest, and this will give you 1 mark in the exam. So your key fact, the easiest way to do this is to draw a number line if you cannot see what the smallest and the largest numbers are by looking at them. Most people will be able to look at these and know where the smallest and the largest is, but if you get a bit confused, draw yourself a number line, this will help. Press pause, have a go at writing down the numbers in the correct order, press play when you've got an answer. Great work, hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So I'm going to do a vertical line. The reason I'm doing a vertical line is because we're looking at temperature, and temperature is generally done in a vertical scale because the thermometer goes into the swimming pool or in the air, and it's normally on a vertical scale, but it can be horizontal, it works exactly the same. So if I say number 1 is here, number 2 is above, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can see 6 is the biggest number written down here. It's the largest positive number here. So 6 will be appearing on the right hand side over here. So this is number 6. Lower than 1, we've got 0. And now we go into negatives, and this is where people get confused. So we've got negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, and I can keep going down until I reach the number I've got here, negative 10. So the numbers will keep going in between until I get to negative 10. I haven't got quite room to write all the numbers in, which is why I've just put these 3 dots, just to say there are numbers in between negative 7 and negative 10, but I didn't have room to write them all in. You don't need to write out all the values in this number line. Just by starting by drawing a few numbers should help you enough to be able to work out where the smallest number is. So the smallest number is the number at the bottom of my line. So this number here, this negative 10, is my smallest. That goes in the left hand side. Then if we look up the number line, we come negative 10. The next negative number we hit is negative 4. So negative 4 is the next smallest. Now we're going into positives. We then hit the number 1. Now we're going to the number 3. And then at the top we have got number 6. So this is from lowest to highest, or from smallest to largest. These are the numbers put in order. Just have a big tick if you got those numbers correct. Well done. So here is the mark scheme. You can see that the numbers are written from smallest to largest or lowest to highest. This is worth 1 mark in the exam. If you do misread the question, you are not allowed the mark because you've read it and you've put them from largest to smallest. That is not allowed. But it does say accept the temperatures in reverse order, but you must have changed the label here. So you've got to cross out this lowest and written largest to acknowledge that you've gone the wrong way if you have put them in the opposite way round. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on coordinates. Now the question says, what are the coordinates of point C? So you're told you've got a triangle A, B and C, and you've just got to work out the coordinate of point C. You need to write your answer in the box. The brackets and the comma have already been done for you, so you're literally just writing in 2 numbers, and this will be worth 1 mark in the exam. On a GCSE paper, you'll need to add in the comma and the brackets yourself, but here all you've got to do is write in the two numbers. Your key fact, but you need to go along the corridor and up the stairs. So you go along the corridor, which means it's your x-axis first, and then your y-axis second. So any coordinate is in the form x, y. Press pause, have a go at working out your answer. Press play when you've got an answer. Great work. Hopefully you've managed to come up with the coordinate of point C. So as it says, along the corridor. So along the corridor, we start at 0 and we go along the corridor, which is 6. So our first coordinate is the point 6. Then up the stairs, how far do we go up until we hit C? We get 2. So our coordinate is the point 62. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer 6-2 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a pictogram question. Now the key facts in the question are this key. You were told that one circle stands for 2 children. So if you've got one circle, this means 2 children. So if you look on the penguins, one circle here is 2 children, the next circle is another 2 children, and the third circle is another 2 children. So you've got 2, 4, 6 children in total when you look at this. Now the question says, how many more children choose tiger than elephant? So you need to be focusing on the tiger and the elephant and how many more are there of the tiger than the elephant. You need to write your answer in this box here, and this is worth 1 mark in the exam. So your key facts. You need to work out how many there are of each animal. So how many tigers are there and how many elephants are there? And then this word here, more, means what is the difference between the two values you've just worked out. So you can either add on from the smallest value to get to the largest value, or do the larger value, take away the smaller value. That will tell you how many more there are. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So to start with, we're going to look at the elephant, as this is at the top. So remember, each circle means 2. So this circle is worth 2. This circle here is worth 2. Now I've got half a circle. So half a circle is equivalent to 1 because it's half of this number here. Half of 2 is 1. So I've got 2 plus 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. So for my elephants, I've got 5. For my tigers, I've got 2 in each of the circles. So it's going to count up in 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So the tigers are 12. Or you could have counted there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles. Each circle is 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Now we've got to work out how many more. That means we've got to subtract the numbers. So I've got to work out 12 take away 5, the difference between these numbers here. So if you do 10 take away 5, it's 5, but you've got 12 take away 5, so you've got to add an extra 2 onto that 5 to make it 7. So make sure you write your answer in the box provided. Make sure your answer is nice and clear so we can see that you've got the correct answer. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Well done, great work. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 7 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem. The key words of the question are that we're told that Stefan counts 3 motorbikes and 5 cars. You can see in the diagram you've got a car which you're told has got 4 wheels and the motorbike has got 2 wheels. You're told that 28 wheels are counted all together. The question is, explain why Stefan cannot be correct. This is worth 1 mark and you need to write your answer in the bubble provided. Now your key facts. You need to work out how many wheels there actually are. So for the 3 motorbikes and for the 5 cars, how many wheels are there actually? Then you need to explain, is he correct or is he not correct? So you need to work out, is the answer you got the same as 28 or is it different to 28? Press pause, have a go at working out the total number of wheels and then explaining your answer. Then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work. So this was worth 1 mark and you've got quite a few things to do. So you've got to look at the number of motorbikes and the number of car wheels. So for a motorbike, you've got 3 motorbikes and each motorbike has 2 wheels. So if you do 3 times 2, that gives you 6 wheels for the motorbikes. And you can do a similar thing for the cars. There are 5 cars, each car has got 4 wheels. Okay, so 5 times 4 is 20. So the number of cars times by the number of wheels gives you 20. So we've got 20 wheels for the car. We've got 6 wheels on the motorbike. Now our total is going to be 20 plus 6. So the total number of wheels is going to be 26 wheels. Now you're told that he counts 28 wheels. Now 28 does not equal to 26. So this symbol here means does not equal. So 26 does not equal 28. So he's not correct. So you need to explain why he's not correct and not just get the 26. You've got to explain that 26 and 28 are not the same, which is why he's not correct. Give yourself a big tick if you got that, so make sure you've written down the total number of wheels there actually are and explain why it's not correct to get the mark. Now the mark scheme here shows numerous different possibilities. Okay, so the main one they've gone here is the one I've done. 5 times 4 is 20, 3 times 2 is 6. The answer is 26, not 28, so therefore he's wrong. Okay, so that's the main way, and that will give you 1 M or 1 method mark. But there are also 3 alternatives over here. So if you used a different method, okay, you can also get the answer correct because they've done a different way over here. So check through your way. Did you do it this way or did you do it one of these ways? Check you're correct and give yourself a mark if you got it correct. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at math. This is a money problem. Now in this question, we need to know the key words. So we're told that 1 litre of apple juice is £1.39. You're told that she pays with a £5 note, and you've got to work out how much change does Kirsty get. So you need to write your answer in the box provided here. So in the bottom right hand corner, write your answer here, and it tells you it's pounds. So they want to know how many pounds and then how many pence, or pounds dot then the pence. This will give you 1 mark in the exam. Now your key facts. You need to know that £1 is equivalent to 100 pence. And you need to know that the word change means how much money will she get back. So that's what this word here, change, means. Now, in current days, we don't use a lot of money anymore. A lot of things are paid for on card, but it's still a key concept that you need to be able to be aware of in how to actually deal with what is actually going on, so you understand how your money works. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. So we know we've got a £5 note and we've got £1.39. So the change means we've got to subtract these 2 numbers from each other. We're going to actually work in pence because it's going to be much easier to work in pence than working in pounds. So £1.39, we know £1 is 100 pence, so £1.39 is 139 pence. And if £1 is 100 pence, £5 is 500 pence. So my £5 note is the largest, so I'm going to write 500. And I've got 139 or 139 pence taken away. Now we can't do 0 take away 9, so we have to borrow from the next one, but there's nothing to borrow from, so we have to borrow from the 5. Now some people will be able to just look at this and know what the answer is. I'm going to show you a couple of methods, but if you're struggling on to find a method, we're going to use this method here, the traditional method. So we haven't got the 5, so we cross the 5 out and make it a 4. This means I can borrow a 10 here. Now I've got 1 I can borrow from here, so I cross the 10 out and make it a 9, and I put a 1 in here. So I've now got 10 take away 9, which is 1. 9 take away 3, which is 6, and 4 take away 1, which is 3. Now this is 361 pence. We can write it in pounds over here as £3.61. Remember, we divide by 10, so the digits move 2 places to the right when we're dividing to make it in terms of pence. Now, if we were going to do this in our head, we've got 500 take away 139. You could start with 139. What do you need to add to 139 to make it 140 is the 1 pence. From 140, what do you need to do to make it £2? That's 60 pence. And then from £2 to £5, you've got £3. So you can do it just by looking at the values, or you can do it using this method here. So if you're not very confident of looking at what you add to 139 to make 500, then you can do the subtraction or think about what you add. It's personal preference. Give yourself a big tick if you got it correct. Well done. The mark scheme shows the answer is £3.61 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on number sequences. So you're told you've got a number sequence, and the key question is, these are the numbers 75, 50 and 25, and you've got to write down the next two numbers. So what are in the missing gaps? And this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Now the key word here is this word sequence. So you need to know what the word sequence means. And basically a sequence is a pattern which has the same gap between each of the numbers, or sometimes the gaps aren't always the same, but there is a pattern within the numbers, and you've got to work out what the pattern is between the numbers. So in this case here, you've got to look at these 3 numbers, and you've got to work out what do you do to this number to get to this number, and then what do you do to this number to get to this number, and then you've got to do the same to get this number, and the same again to get this number here. See if you can work out what it is. Press pause and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. So some of you should be looking at this and thinking, wow, I know exactly what these numbers are, and others of you will probably be able to get the first box quite easily, and then the second box is causing a few problems. Or some of you might be struggling to work out how to get from 75 to 50. So if we look at this first 2 gap, you should see that the numbers are going down. So to get from 75 to 50, we're going to be taking away. Now 7 take away 5 is 2, 5 take away 0 is 5, so we're actually taking away 25. So if we take away 25 from here, it takes me to 50. I'm now going to go from 50 to 25. If I take away 25 from 50, does it leave me with 25? So 50 take away 20 is 30, take away 5 takes me to 25. Yes, it does. So the gap is constant, it is the same. So we have got a linear sequence here because the numbers are going down by the same amount. So I've now got to work out how to get to this next number. So I'm going to be doing take away 25 again. 25 take away 25 is 0. From this 0, I now need to take away 25 again. But this time we're actually going into negative values. So don't be scared that we're going to go into negative values. 0 take away 25 is just negative 25. Okay, so think about your number line, how it's going along. It is written backwards compared to how you would normally have a number line, because normally we have the positives on the right and the negatives on the left. But it doesn't matter which order the number line is in, it still works exactly the same. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there is 1 mark for getting the correct answer 0 and minus 25 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. It does say do not accept 25 with the minus, so the negative has got to come in front of the 25 for it to be marked as being correct. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on rounding. Now the key words of the question are you're told that you've got 24,372 schools, and you're asked to round this number to the nearest 100. So these are the key parts of the question. Now this year here in 2012 is irrelevant within the question. So it's written there as a number, but it's not a number that you need to worry about in the question. You need to write your answer in the box provided, and this will be worth 1 mark in the exam. Now your key facts. If you have got the number 5 or above, you're going to round up. Now there is a little saying that 5 to 9 climb the vine. Or if you've got the number 4 or below, you keep the number the same. So the same for this one is 0 to 4, slide to the floor. Now there are lots of different sayings. The one my children prefer are these ones here: 5 to 9, climb the vine; 0 to 4, slide to the floor. That's what my children prefer, so that's the one I've used. But there are multiple different rules and sayings that can help you remember. 5 or above, you round up, or 4 below, you keep the number the same. Now, when you're rounded to the nearest 100, the number that you're looking at is the number before the hundreds column. So you need to find your hundreds column. So you've got your ones, your tens, your hundreds, your thousands, your tens of thousands. So you find your hundreds column, and it's the number to the right of that which tells you which one is going to be going up or down. Pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So we're just going to think of a number line to start with, and we can see we've got 300, 700, 372. So if I write down the number 24,300 and the number 24,400, this number is between these two numbers. Now 24,372. Now in the middle you've got 24,350. So 24,372 is going to be above halfway. So it's going to be about here. So you can see that this number here, 24,372, is closer to 24,400 than it is to 24,300, which is why the answer is going to round up to this number here. If we do it by looking at the value after the hundreds column, so this is the hundreds column, we've got the number 7. So this is where the rhyme comes in. 5 to 9, climb the vine. So this is between 5 and 9. So we're going to climb the vine. What that means is this 3 becomes a 4. It goes up by 1, which is why it goes to 24,004. And then the last two digits become zeros because we've rounded, becomes 24,400. If this number here where the 7 is was lower than a 5, so 4 or below, or 0 to 4, it slides to the floor. That means that this number here, the 3, would have stayed the same, so it would have been 24,300. If this number here, where the 7 is lower than a 4, then it would go down to this number here. So your answer is 24,400. Give yourself a big tick if you got it correct. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 24,400 for 1M, which means one method mark. It says do not accept the number 400. So if you only wrote the 400, which is the bit after the 24,000, you would not get the answer correct. So make sure you write down the full answer. If you wrote a comma, fantastic. If you didn't write the comma, you'll still get the answer correct. But make sure your comma is nice and small and it doesn't look like the number 1. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on circle definitions. The key words in the question are you've got to match the diagram to the name of the dashed line. So for example here you can see there are 3 diagrams and on the right there are 3 words. So the words circumference, diameter and radius. You need to know what each of these words mean and then you've got to link them to the dotted line. So you've got a line going across the middle, a line going halfway across and a line around the outside, and you've got to match them from one to the other. This will give you 1 mark in the exam. Your key facts. You need to know what the word circumference means. So the word circumference means the distance around the edge. For diameter, this is the distance from one side to the other side that passes through the centre. And the radius is the distance from the centre to the edge. Now you know the definitions. Just pause, have a go at matching them up and then press play when you're ready to hear the answers. Fantastic. So you should be familiar with all these 3 key words and they are words that you need to know for your SATs and also for GCSEs. So the top word up here is the word circumference. The definition says the distance around the edge. So the edge of the circle is all the way around the outside, but it is the dotted line, the dashed line, So this is the one with the dashed line around the edge. So this is the circumference of the circle. The diameter is the distance from one side of the circle that passes through the centre. So the centre is the origin or the middle of the circle. So the middle of the circle is highlighted on 3 diagrams, but passing from one side to the other is this top diagram up here. And the last one is the radius, and this is the distance from the centre of the circle to the edge. So you can see we've got the centre of the circle going to the edge. This is the radius. Now, if you double your radius, you will get your diameter. So there is a link between the radius and the diameter. And there is also a formula between the circumference and the diameter, which also links into the radius that you'll need to know for GCSE. But for SATs, you just need to know the terminology for what the keywords mean. Give yourself a big tick if you got these correct. Well done. The mark scheme shows that you get 1 mark for getting all 3 lines correct. The lines do not need to touch the diagrams, and the names provided in the intention is clear. So make sure that you have gone nicely from one diagram to the other. It doesn't actually have to touch them. Try to make sure your lines are nice, clear lines. Don't do like lots and lots of curly lines in between, because otherwise it can get confusing and difficult to understand which one you mean. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem. This is a classic kind of problem, and you need to be familiar with, if someone thinks of a number, what was the number they were thinking of. And there are little tricks and things to help you do this. So we've got Ken thinking of a number. These are the keywords in the question. Dividing by 3. So he divides this number by 3. You're told the answer is 72. So these are the key words. What was the number Ken was thinking of? So what was the answer? What did he start with? You've got to write your answer in the box, and this will give you 1 mark in the exam. So your key facts. You need to know that the opposite of divide is times or multiply. So you need to know that when it's mentioned in the word divide, the opposite of the word divide is multiply. So press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. So we know if we've got a number, we divide it by 3, the answer is 72. So we have to do the opposite. So if we do 72 times 3, that will give me the number Ken's thinking of. So we're going to do 72, we're going to times it by 3. Now some people will be able to just work this out in their head. Other people need to show this method, and I'm going to show you 2 methods. So the classic way is 2 times 3, which is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. So we've got 216. We could also use the grid. So we've got 72 split into 70 and 2. 70 times 3, so we do 7 times 3 is 21, add a 0 is 210. 2 times 3 is 6. 210 plus 6 is 216. Again, the answer is exactly the same, whichever method you choose to use. Doesn't matter which one you can use, as long as you get the answer correct. Give yourself a big tick if you got it correct. Well done. The mark scheme of this question shows the answer is 216 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on adding and subtracting using your place value. Now the first one, you have told that you've got 1,000 more than 19,039. This is worth 1 mark, and you need to write your answer in the box here. The second keywords are that you've got 100 less than 19,039. Again, write your answer in the box, and this one is also worth 1 mark. So these are the keywords in the question. These are how many marks, and you get a mark for each answer in each of the boxes. Now, some people will be able to just know the answer to this and be able to just write the answers down. Others of you will need to write down a method. It depends on how you find your basic number skills. So your key facts. More means add, and less means subtract. So these are the key words in the question here, more and less. So press pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic if you've managed to come up with an answer. So we're first of all going to start off with 19,039. Now some people will be able to see if you add 1,000 more what the answer is going to be. But if you can't see it, we're going to look at my thousand column. So I've got my ones, my tens, my hundreds, my thousands. So this is my thousand column. So I've got 1,000. And I'm going to add them up. 9 plus 0 is 9. 3 plus 0 is 3. 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 1 is 10. So I carry the 1 over. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So I have got 20,039. Now some people would look at this number and think I've got 19,000. I'm adding one more. That's going to give me 20,000. So the answer is 20,039 for 1 mark. This one's slightly trickier. We've got 100 less than 19,039, so the same number to start with. Now this is my ones column, my tens and my hundreds, so I've got 100 less. So 9 take away 0 is 9, 3 take away 0 is 3, nothing take away 9, I can't, nothing take away 1 I can't do, so I have to borrow from the 9, so I cross this out and make it an 8. So I've now got 10 take away 1, which is 9. 8 take away 0 is 8. 1 take away 0 is 1. So my answer is 18,938. Again, this one's slightly harder because of where the 100 is taking it away from. This number here, 39, is less than 100 on the end. So that makes it harder. So you've got 19,000. If you take off 19,000, take off 100, you're going to go into the 18,900. So if you could see that without having to do this working, fantastic. You could just write down the answer. If you need to show you're working out, this is what you need to do. Give yourself a big tick if you got these correct. Well done. The mark scheme of this question shows the answer to the first part is 20,039 for 1M, which means 1 method mark, and the second one 18,939, again for 1M or 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on symmetry. The key words of the question are you have to draw all the lines of symmetry on this shape that is given here. And it tells you must use a ruler. This is worth 1 mark in the exam. So your key facts. Now when it says draw the lines, that means you need to use your pencil and your ruler to draw straight lines. So you're going to be using a ruler to draw some straight lines. Now all, this word here in the question, all, means that there is going to be more than one line. So if you've only drawn one line on your picture, then you need to think about, are there any more lines? So there is going to be more than one line of symmetry. So all means there's likely to be more than one line of symmetry. Now this symmetry word, okay, this is the line of reflection. So this symmetry is where is your line of reflection. So basically if you put a mirror on this diagram here, where could you split that diagram in half so it looks exactly the same on the other side? So if there was a mirror sitting somewhere, so for example if there's a mirror on the end here, and you looked into the mirror, would you see the shape that you can see here? If the answer is yes, then that is a line of symmetry. If the answer is no, then it is not a line of symmetry. So you've got to mark off all the lines of symmetry. Press pause, think about where they're going to go, draw out the diagram, put on your lines of symmetry, and then press play when you've got an answer. Great work. Hopefully you'll manage to come up with the correct lines of symmetry. So to start with, when you're looking at lines of symmetry, you've got to work out where the middle is. So the key point is looking in the middle. So the middle of this shape is about here. So which directions can you go to draw a line of symmetry? So the first obvious one is coming across here. So if I put a mirror down here, where this blue line here is, if I put a mirror line across there and looked in, I would see exactly the same as what you can see currently. So it's the same on either half of this line. There is also another line of symmetry vertically. So if I did the same here vertically, then I would also get the same. Now a lot of people get confused and try and do the diagonals as well. In this case here, if you try and do diagonals on a rectangle, there is no line of symmetry on a rectangle diagonal. So don't be confused. There is on a square, but not on a rectangle. So this shape here has got 2 lines of symmetry, and that's what you're expected to draw. Give yourself a big tick if you got those correct. Well done. The mark schemes on this question shows you could draw the lines like I did, or they could end at the end of the shape, or you could have done them dotted. Any of these are acceptable, and this will give you 1M or 1 method mark in the exam. If you drew extra lines in like these two diagrams here, you would not get the mark in the exam. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question involving a fraction of a number. Now the key part of the question is you're told that 1/5 of a number is 22. And you've got to work out what the number was. You must write your answer in the box here, and this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Your key facts are that you need to know that 1/5 means divide by 5. This means 1 divided by 5. And you also need to know that the opposite to divide is multiply. So these are your main two facts. You can actually draw a diagram as well to help you if you find it useful. Doesn't matter which way you can get the answer, as long as you can get the correct answer, you'll get 1 mark. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. So if we imagine this is my whole number, so all these 5 sections here represent the one whole. Now you're told that 1/5 of the number is 22. So I've split this shape into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. So one section of this, because this is 1/5, is equivalent to 22. Now if 1/5 is equivalent to 22, all these sections are exactly the same size. Now the question wants to know what is the number, so it wants to know the total or the whole here. So if 1/5 is equivalent to 22, and this section here is equivalent to 22, that means all my sections here are going to be equivalent to 22. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of 22, so I've got to do 22 times by 5. Now you didn't actually need to draw this diagram, you could have just gone straight into thinking, well 1/5 of the number is 22, so this means 22 divided by 5. Now the opposite to divided by 5 is multiplied by 5, so I can just go straight into 22 times by 5. Once we're doing this, you've got to work out 22 by 5. If you're unsure how to do it in your head, write it out in this method here. So you've got 2 times 5, which is 10, so you carry the 1 and put the 0 down here. 2 times 5 is 10 again, plus the 1 gives you 11, so your answer is 110. Some people will be able to do this very quickly in their head. So an easy way to multiply by 5 is to multiply this number by 10, and that's really easy by adding a 0 and then halving the number. So if I add a 0 onto this number, I get 220. Half of 220, half of 200 is 100, half of 20 is 10, so my answer is 110. That's a quick way to multiply by 5 in your head. You could have also done 5 times by 2, and then 5 times by 20, and then added those two answers together, which will also give you the 110. Give yourself a big tick if you got the correct answer. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 110 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on finding, measuring an angle. Now in this question, the key part of the question says measure the angle A. Now that means find out how big this angle here is. And you need to write the answer in the box, and this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Now your key facts. You will need to be able to use a protractor for this question, and this is the thing that looks like the semicircle, or it might be a whole circle. That's what your protractor is. You need to look in your pencil case and see if you've got a protractor. If you don't, make sure you've got one for the exam. You then need to put the cross of the protractor where the 2 lines meet. So I've got 1 line and I've got 2 lines. Where they meet at this point here, you need to put the cross of the protractor. And then you need to line 0 up along one of the 2 lines. That could be along this line here or along this line here. Once you've lined that up, then you've got to work out the angle and write the answer in here. Pause, have a go at putting your protractor over the screen or on the piece of paper and measuring the angle you've got. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work. Okay, so hopefully you have managed to work out where your protractor is, find it and measure this angle. So your protractor will be looking like this. You can see I've taken the cross of the protractor, which is the centre of the protractor, and I've put it on the point where the two lines meet. I've also taken the point 0 across one of the lines. So you can see one of the lines was along here and the other line was across here. It doesn't matter whether the 0 was at this point or going across here. Now, as I've got 0 along here, you'll see that there are two scales, a 0 and 180. Now, this angle here you should be looking at and thinking, this is an obtuse angle. This angle is bigger than 90 degrees. So you can see here I've got 90, which is the right angle. This is an obtuse angle, so it's between 90 and 180 degrees. So that's the kind of answer you should be coming out with. So you can see, you can look across here, I've got 0 and you can count round in tens. So it goes 10, 20, 30, 40. So I'm using the outside scale, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. You can see I'm on the 130 for this line coming across here. So you need to just write in here your answer that you've got. So I've got 130 degrees for my angle here. Make sure you read carefully. It could be 131, 129. Make sure you read nice and accurately. And give yourself a tick when you've got this correct. So well done. In the exam, you will be given a bit of leeway. It won't be exactly 130. You will be given a little bit of leeway there. But the important bit is to line your protractor up carefully so you know how to measure that angle. The mark scheme shows the leeway is an answer between 128 and 132. So we got 130, so you could have been two angles or 2 degrees below or 2 degrees above, and that will give you 1 mark in the exam. So if you've got an answer anywhere between 132 inclusive, means including these two numbers, you would get the answer correct in the exam. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on ordering fractions. The key words are that we have got the 4 fractions here, 1/3, 1/6, 1/4 and a half. And you've got to write these fractions in the correct place on the number line that you can see down here. And this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Your scale goes between 0 and 1, and you've got to work out which of these 4 fractions goes in which box, and you've got to write your answers in each of the boxes. Your key facts. You need to find a common denominator for each of these fractions. Now, to help you do that, the denominator is the number in the bottom, so it's the number that each of these numbers all go into. And to help you do it, if you count the gaps along the bottom on this number line, that will tell you what your common denominator is. So if you can't work out which times table all of these are in, just count the numbers down here and that will help you. You then need to find equivalent fractions. So once you know what your common denominator is, you've got to multiply the top number and the bottom number by the same number to make it equivalent. So for each of these 4 fractions, you need to find 4 equivalent fractions over the same denominator. Once they're over the same denominator, you can order them from smallest to largest. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work. So hopefully you've managed to work out your common denominator and find your equivalent fractions. So our common denominator, you've got to find a number that 3, 6, 4 and 2 all go into. If you're struggling to do it, look at your number line down here and we're going to count the gaps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Our common denominator is going to be 12. Let's check. So 3 goes into 12 because 3 times 4 is 12. 6 goes into 12 because 6 times 2 is 12. 4 goes into 12 because 4 times 3 is 12. And 2 goes into 12 because 2 times 6 is 12. So 12 is the common denominator. So if I just draw out a diagram with 12 sections, I've got 4 along the top and 3 down the side. So 4 times 3 is 12, so I've got 12 blocks here. From these 12 boxes, I'm going to colour 1/3 or work out where 1/3 is. Now I've done these boxes in different layers, so I've got a top layer, a middle layer and a bottom layer, and they're different colours for each layer. So you can see it's been split into thirds. So we've got 1/3, 2/3 and 3/3. So 1/3 is equivalent to the top row, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. So that is 4 out of 12 is the same as 1/3, and that's your equivalent fraction. You don't need to draw the diagram. You could have said 3 times 4 is 12. So 1 times 4 is 4, so 1/3 is the same as 4/12. I'm going to look at a quarter next because this has got 1, 2, 3, 4 along the top, so it's also been split into 4 sections. So if I went down, I've got 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections, 4 sections. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So each section, 1/4, is 1 row coming down or 1 column coming down. So I've got 1, 2, 3 sections. So 1/4 is equivalent to 3/12. Now 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. That's how you would do it without drawing the diagram. Now 1/2 is nice and easy. That's half of the diagram. So if we cut this diagram in half down the middle, it covers up this section here. Now this section underneath is the same as what's on over here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. So that is 6/12. Now if you do 2 times 6, that gives you 12. And 1 times 6 is 6. So 6/12 is equivalent to a half. The last one we need to draw a slightly different diagram. So I've got 6 sections coming down and 2 across to make it easier to find out what 1/6 is. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections going across, and there are 12 in total. So the first one is 1/6. So 1, 2 sections is equivalent to 1/6. Again, without using the diagram, 6 times 2 is 12. 1 times 2 is 2. Next, I need to order these numbers. So I'm looking for the smallest numerator, which is the number at the top, to be the smallest. So my smallest numerator is the number 2. So 2/12. You can see on the diagram it's 1, 2 sections across. So 2/12 is equivalent to 1/6. So in the box down here, you need to write 1/6. The next smallest is 1, 2, 3 sections away. Again, look at your numerator, the one with the 3 in, or the next smallest is 3/12. But we need to write down the fraction 1/4 in the box here. So always write down the original questions or the original fractions that were given rather than your equivalent ones. The next one is 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So that is 4/12, this section here. So that's this fraction here, 4/12, which is the next biggest. So we've got the 2, the 3, the 4, which is equivalent to 1/3. And the last one is in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exactly in the middle. So there's 6 on each side. So exactly in the middle is 1/2, and that is the number here. You need to get all 4 of these correct to get the 1 mark in the exam. So they must all be in the correct position to be able to get the mark in the exam. The mark scheme on this question shows the answers in the correct section, and this will give you 1 mark in the exam. They must all be correct to get the mark. If you misread the question, it is not allowed. If you wrote equivalent fractions in here, so you wrote down 6/12, for example, for a half, then that is allowed. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem involving time. Our key words in the question are we're told that the rate of rainfall from 6:30 AM to 9 AM was 2 millimetres per hour. Now per means every hour. So every hour there were 2 millimetres of water that fell. And you've got to work out the total rainfall from 6:30 AM until 9 AM. You need to write your answer in the box here, and your answer will be in millimetres. And this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Your key facts. You need to find the difference in time. So you need to find the difference in time, how many hours and minutes or how many hours there are between 6:30 AM and 9 AM. And then you need to find the rainfall for half an hour, because we know the rainfall for 1 hour. So what will it be for half an hour? And you need to remember that half an hour is equivalent to 30 minutes. So there are 60 minutes in an hour, so half an hour is 30 minutes. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer, so well done. So between 9:30 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. we've got to work out the difference in time. So if we start at 6:30 a.m., add on an hour, takes you to 7:30 a.m. Add on another hour, takes you to 8:30 a.m., which gives you 2 hours. Then from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. you have got half an hour. So if you think about the clock, the hand is at the bottom when it's at past, and then coming all the way up to the top for 9 o'clock. That is half an hour or 30 minutes. So we have got 2 hours and 30 minutes. So we know it's 2 millimeters in 1 hour. So 2 millimeters per hour, which means 2 millimeters for 1 hour. So in half an hour, we have got to halve this number. So half of an hour is just half an hour. Half of 2 millimeters is just 1 millimeter. So 1 millimeter is going to be in half an hour, which is equivalent to 30 minutes. So this 30 minutes on the end is going to be equivalent to 1 millimeter. But we've got 2 hours. So if 2 millimeters is 1 hour, then to work out 2 hours, then we've got to double this. So 2 hours is going to be 4 millimeters. So 1 hour is 2 millimeters, 2 hours is 4 millimeters. From here, I've got 4 millimeters for the 2 hours and 1 millimeter for the 30 minutes. I've got to add those together. So 4 plus 1 gives me 5 millimeters for the 2 hours and 30 minutes. And that's the number that needs to get written in the box here, the number 5. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Well done, great work. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 5 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem. The key words in the question are that we're told we have got a flower shop and there are 4 boxes of red roses. So this is an example of a box, and in this box you have got some red roses, and there will be 4 of these boxes. 50 roses are in each box. So within this box here you have got 50 roses, and roses are a flower. Now the manager makes bunches of 6 roses in each bunch. So this is called a bunch of roses, so it's a group of flowers together, and within this group of flower you have got 6 roses. So 6 flowers here make one bunch. So in the box you have got 50 roses, you have got 4 boxes, and one bunch of flowers has got 6 roses in it. You've got to work out the greatest number of bunches that can be made. Your answer needs to go in this box here, and you must show your working out here. So it says show your method. So your method needs to be written in this box here with the answer in this final box down here for 2 marks. So your key facts. You need to know that a bunch is a group of flowers. As you can see here in the picture here, I've got a bunch of flowers. For total flowers, you need to multiply. So you need to work out the total number of flowers you're going to have to multiply. Number of bunches you're going to have to divide. Remember, when you're dividing, you need to use the bus stop method. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work. Hopefully you've managed to come up with the greatest number of bunches that can be made. So to start with, we're going to look at the total number of flowers. So I've got 4 boxes and each box has got 50 in. So if one box, there are 50 in one box, in 4 boxes I've got to do 4 times by 50. Now we could do 4 times 5 is 20, add on a 0 because we're multiplied by 10, which gives me 200. So we can do this just in our head. If you prefer to use the column method, you can use the column method. We now need to make bunches of 6. So we've got to share this 200 with 6 because each bunch of flowers has got 6. We know we've got 200 flowers in total. We need to know how many groups of 6 we can make from this 200. So I'm going to do 6 into 200. Now 6 into 2 doesn't go, so I put a 0 above, and the number that is here always gets written here. So there's 2 left over. So I've now got 6 into 20. 6 into 20 goes 3. 3 times 6 is 18. To get to 20, you've got 19, 20, you've got 2 left over, so we write a 2 in here. You'll notice that I've got a 20 here and I've got a 20 here. So our next calculation is going to be really easy because it's just what we've done. 6 into 20 was 3, so 6 into 20 again is also 3. 6 times 3 is 18. There's 2 left over. So when we go past this 0 here, I need to put a decimal point in. So I've got 0.0, and there were 2 left over. Now you'll notice that this pattern is just repeating. So 6 into 20 is 3 again, and the decimal point stays in the same place, so I've got 0.3 on the end. Now the same pattern is just going to keep recurring and recurring again, so we've got a recurring decimal. So to make a recurring decimal, I need to just put a dot above the 3, which means this 3 will just keep going on and on and on. Now actually 0.3 recurring is equivalent to 1/3, so that's the case that we've got here. So the total number of bunches is going to be 33.3 recurring. Now you've got to know the greatest number of actual bunches there are. So you've got 33 whole bunches, and then 1/3 of a bunch can be made, or 0.3 recurring, so a fraction of it. So the total number of bunches that can actually be made is the 33, which needs to get written in the box. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows you get 2 marks for getting the answer of 33. If you did 4 times 5 is 200 and then divided 200 by 6 and got a wrong answer, then you would get 1 mark. Or doing something equivalent with 50 divided by 6, so you could have taken the number of flowers in a box divided by 6 and then worked out you've got 8 remainder 2. Then you've got to times that by 4, which gives you 32 remainder 8. Then something like that will give you 1 method mark. Or the site of saying 33 1/3 or 33.3 recurring, or something like 33 remainder 2. That will give you a 1 mark as well. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on adding and subtracting fractions. The key parts of the question are you're told that 1/20th of the tickets are price A, 3/5 of the tickets are price B, and the rest of the tickets are price C. And you've got to work out what fraction of the tickets are price C. Now don't let the A's, B's and C's put you off. Basically you've got 3 different types of tickets. So you could have the tickets near the front, the tickets in the middle and the tickets at the back are 3 different prices. And 1/20th of them are the first price, the ones at the front, the 3/5 are the seats that are in the middle, and then the ones at the back are the rest. And you've got to work out what fraction are the rest, so the people like sitting at the back of the show. It says you must show your method, which means in this box here you must write down all your working, and then you write your final answer, which will be a fraction in this box. So your numerator will go above the line and your denominator will go below the line. This will be worth 2 marks in the exam. So your key facts. You need to know that 1 whole is equivalent to 20 over 20. So if you did 20 divided by 20, 20 divided by 20 is 1, which is 1 whole. So this fraction here, 1/20th, is already equivalent to 1 whole. Step adding and subtracting fractions. So we've got to add some fractions together and then we're going to have to subtract them. First of all, you need to make your denominators the same. Now there's a bit of a clue here because we've got 20 over 20, that is going to be my common denominator. Find equivalent fractions. So finding equivalent fractions, what makes these two fractions that are here both over 20? This one is already over 20, so you've only got to find the equivalent fraction for 3/5. Remember, to find an equivalent fraction, what do you times both of these numbers by to make the denominator 20? So what do you times 5 by to make 20? Do the same to the 3. That will give you the new numerator. When you're adding or subtracting fractions, you add or subtract the numerator, which is the number at the top of the fraction, and the denominator will stay the same. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer, so fantastic. So I'm going to draw out 20 sections here. So I've got 5 along the top and 4 down here. The reason I've done 20 is because 20 fits into 20 and 5 fits into 20. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections along here. So this is 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. So split into 5 sections. So I'm looking for 3/5. So that is 1, 2, 3 sections going down. So that is equivalent to 1, 2, 3 times by 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 squares. You could have done multiplying that, or you could count all the squares, 3, 6, 9, 12, adding them up to give you 12 squares. So 3/5 is the same as 12 over 20. Now, without drawing the diagram, you could have said 5 times by 4 is 20, 3 times 4 is 12, so 12 over 20 is the same as 3/5. It is an equivalent fraction. Now, we've got to work out what fraction of tickets there are at the front and at the middle, or for the price A and for price B. So 1/20th, we want to know, adding on the tickets here in price B, or the middle section, we've got 12 over 20. So 1 over 20 plus the 12 over 20, 12 plus 1 gives me 13, and my denominator stays the same, because if I added on one more section onto here, I've still got 20 sections in total, and that makes 12 plus 1, which is the 13. Now the next bit of the question says the rest of the tickets are price C. So the rest is what is left. So what is left if I do 13 to 20, what do I have to do? So I've got to do 20 over 20, so from one whole one, take away the 13 over 20, which is all that with that extra section in there, how many sections are left. So you can see the ones which are left, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left, or 20 take away 13 is 7, so that was 7 out of 20 which remain. That answer needs to be written in the box here, 7 over 20. You can see here, this is for 1/20th, where I've just put the marker. The 12/20ths were already there. The ones which are white are what is remaining, which is for 7 over 20. That was your answer, and that will give you 2 marks. You would get 1 mark for adding the fractions together to come up with 13 over 20 and for showing your method. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Well done, great work. The mark scheme on this question shows there are 2 marks for getting the answer of 7 over 20, which is up to 2m, which means up to 2 method marks. You get 1 mark for just showing the number 13 over 20. If you did your working, saying you've got 1 over 20 plus 12 over 20 to give you 13 over 20, or try to do 1 take away 13 over 20, or doing something equivalent to that, that will give you 1 mark. So make sure you know that you're showing your working out to be able to get the 2 marks for the exam, and you don't lose a mark because you didn't show your working. If you get the answer correct, you would still get 2 marks. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on dividing. The key words in the question are that you've got to write the missing number that makes the division correct. So you're told that 15,000 divided by some number equals 75. You've got to work out what the missing number is, write it in this gap here, and this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Your key facts. You need to know when you're going to do division, you need to be thinking about the bus stop method. Now we have got a number divided by something is equal to an answer. Now you need to realise that if you divide something, a number by something, and you get an answer out, that is the same as doing the number divided by the answer will give you what is missing. So this will help you because of your number families, that if you do the number divided by something and you get an answer, it's the same as the number divided by the answer, it gives you the something. So this will help you to work out what this something is. Press pause, see if you can work out what the something is, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work. So hopefully you've managed to realise you've got to do a division yourself, because 15,000 divided by something gives you 75. So if I did 15,000 divided by 75, that will tell me what this missing gap here is. Because if I need to know what do I share into 15,000 to get 75 out, if I put 75 into this, then that will tell me what this gap here is. So we're going to use the bus stop method. We're divided by 75 and I've got 15,000 here. So I say, how many times does 75 go into 1? Obviously it doesn't fit, so we put a 0 at the top, and whatever's left here, which is the 1, gets carried here. So I've now got 75 into 15. Again, obviously 75 doesn't fit into 15, so we put a 0 at the top. How many's left over is the number that is written here, which is the number 15, which is what goes up here now. I've now got 75 into 150. Now, a lot of you probably don't know your 75 times table off the top of your head, but if we just start with 75, double 70, you get 140, double 5, you get 10, 140 plus 10 gives you 150. You should realise that this goes in twice. So 75 fits into 150 twice. Then I've got 75 into 0, goes 0, and 75 into 0 also goes 0. So your answer is 200, and it needs to be written in this box here. Now some children will be able to look at the numbers 75 and the 15,000 and think 75 fits into 150 twice in the first place. So double 75 is 150, and then just add 2 zeros on to give you the 200. If you struggle to just see it, always show you're working out using the bus stop. It will make you help get the correct answer. Give yourself a big tick if you got it correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 200 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on long multiplication. The key words of the question are that you're told you've got 2 missing digits, and these missing digits are in this box here and this box here, and you've got to write down what the missing numbers are to make the long multiplication correct. So what are the missing gaps within here? And this will give you 2 marks in the exam. 1 mark for each of the numbers. Your key facts. Work through the calculation from the start. So do long division, long multiplication as you would normally do it. So start with the 3 times each of these numbers here, and then you've got to work out what this number is here when you multiply it by all of these. So we're then going to take this 3, multiply by each of these, and work out what are the missing values in here. Where does it work? What will this number here be? Once you've got this number here, you've then got to look at this number and then work out something times 5, going to end in a 5. What is the missing number that it could be? So you've got to look a little bit further on across these numbers to see what's going on and work out which one will work. Press pause, have a think about what the missing numbers could be, and then press play when you've got an answer. Fantastic, well done. So we're going to start off by doing the calculation. So 3 times 5 is 15, so there was a 1 carried in here, so we could put the 1 up here. I've now got 3 times 3, which is 9, plus the 1 gives me the 10, which gives me a 1 and a 0. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 1 gives me a 7. Now I've got 3 times something gives me 9. So 3 times 3 is 9. So the missing number in here is 3, and that will give you 1 mark in the exam for getting the number 3. This box here is much trickier. So that one's the easiest one to work out. This one under here is harder to work out. So we know we're now multiplying by a 10, which is why there is a 0 here. So we've now got to do something times by 5, and the digit here is a 5. Now, it could be 1. 1 times 5 is 5. We've got a 5 in here. If that is the case, then I've got 1 times 3 is 3. That will be a 3 here, but it's not a 3, it's a 7. So 3 does not work. A 1 does not work in that box. Now, if you look at the last two digits here at the end, we've got the number 16. Now, they're likely to be something times 3 is giving me the last digits here, these last two digits here. Now, if it is 16, it's got to be a number smaller than 16, because there could have been some numbers up here carried on. So 16 has got to be the largest number. So if you think about your 3 times table, it goes 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Could potentially be a 12, but you've got quite a few added on to it. It's likely to be a 15. So this number here could be a 5. So 3 times 5 is 15, which is slightly less than this 16 on the end. We don't know whether it's right or not, so we're going to try it out. So assuming it is a 5, if we do 5 times 5, we get 25. So that would put a 2 in here and a 5 here. Then I've got 5 times 3, which is 15, plus the 2 gives me a 17. So this carries a 1 here and a 7. So the 2 would carry here. So for 5 times 5 was 25. 5 times 3 is 15. So that'd be a 1. Plus the 2 gives me the 17, which works here. If you kept going through with the whole calculation, it would work all the way through, and then these numbers here underneath have just been added. Now, it was really tricky to get this second number here, so there's 1 mark for getting the 3, 1 mark for getting the 5. Give yourself a big tick if you got it correct. It is a tricky question. 1 mark's fairly straightforward to get through. The second mark was harder, so well done if you managed to get it correct. Fantastic work. The mark scheme on this question says up to 2m, which means up to 2 marks. You will get 1 mark for each one correct, so 1 mark for either box correct, so 1 mark for the 3 and 1 mark for the 5. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at math. This is a question on converting imperial length to metric. In the question, you're told a person is 8 foot and 11 inches tall, and you've been given a conversion table of 1 foot is 30 centimetres, 1 inch is 2.5 centimetres, and you've got to use this conversion table, so this information here, to work out the height of the tallest person in centimetres, and your answer needs to be written in this box here. You can see the units are here already for you. It says you must show your method, and this will give you 2 marks in the exam. For our key facts, we need to know what these words here mean, imperial and metric. So in my title, I've got imperial and I've got metric. So imperial units are your old units. So these are units that people used to use many years ago. So your parents or grandparents will have used imperial units when they were at school or going round. Some people still use them, so 8 feet and 11 inches, you may have heard someone saying they're 5 foot, or someone's 6 foot, or some people are even 7 foot now. So you do hear this language of feet and inches in people's heights. It is still used and people still refer to that, rather than saying someone's 1.5 meters tall or 1.6 meters tall. We use feet and inches still. So this terminology is still around, but we do generally use metric distances. So feet, you can see here this says foot. Foot and feet mean the same, it just means plural. So feet means more than one. 1 foot is for 1 foot, but when you've got more than 1 foot, you say you've got 2 feet. So this 8 is more than 1 foot, so this is 8 feet. So just be careful between the word feet, foot. They both shorten to FT. Inches is a smaller unit than feet, and this is used as like the speech marks for two little marks here, for as if you're finishing off speech marks. Your metric units are what we use these days. This is what your ruler will use, centimetres. So 30 centimetres, that's your long ruler, is 30 centimetres, that's equivalent to 1 foot. And the reason it's called a foot is because years ago they didn't have any rulers or anything, so someone went along walking, counting a distance, and they counted how many footsteps they took or how many feet they went from one place to another. So they literally put their feet on end to each other to count distances because there was no measuring tool. So that's where the term feet came from. And then they had smaller increments, which they called inches. Now we're going to use our centimetres for our metric unit here. So this is in centimetres. You also have metres, kilometres, which are also metric lengths. Now press pause, see if you can work out what 8 feet and 11 inches is in centimetres. Get your answer written down and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work. Hopefully you've managed to work out what 8 feet and 11 inches is in terms of centimetres. So if I start off with 1 foot being 30 centimetres, if I think of this as a height or a distance, so 1 foot is 30 centimetres. I go again, I've got my second foot, so 1 foot is another 30 centimetres. So I've got 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot. So this person is 8 feet tall. So this is 8 feet tall. So I've got 30 plus 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 30. Or we could do 30 times by 8. That will tell me the distance from here up to here. So 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 3 is 24. So we've got 240 centimetres for the 8 foot. Now this person is 8 foot and 11 inches. So on top of this height of 8 feet here, we've got 11 inches. And these are smaller gaps here. So counting up here, smaller. I haven't got room to fit them all in there, but we're going to use the similar principle. We're just going to go straight to the calculation. So we've got 11 times by 2.5 to work out how many inches are in centimetres. Now, 2.5 centimetres is approximately 1 inch. Now, if you look at your ruler, you can see how big 2.5 centimetres is. It's probably about the length of your thumb. 30 centimetres, that's the long ruler, is 30 centimetres. And then a little bit of it is 2.5 centimetres. Now, we've got to work out 2.5 times 11. So if I do 2 times 11, that gives me 22. And then I can do 0.5 times 11. So half of 11 is 5.5 because half of 10 is 5. Half of 1 is 0.5. So half of 11 is 5.5. To work out 2.5 of 11, we just need to add these. So the 2 plus the 5 is 7. So we have got 27.5. Now you can actually multiply any number by 11 really easily. So if you look here, I've got a 2 at the front and I've got a 2 at the front here. I've got a 5 at the end and I've got a 5 at the end here. If you add together 2 plus 5, 2 plus 5 is 7, so that's the number that goes in the middle. That's how you can multiply any 2-digit number by 11 very, very quickly. So just separate the 2 digits here. Add them together, 2 plus 5 is 7, that goes in the middle. Now we've done that assuming there was no decimal point in here. So if you just do 25 times 11, split 2 and 5, 2 plus 5 is 7, that goes in the middle. But I've got one number after this decimal point here. So because there's one number after the decimal point, the number 2.5 is 10 times smaller than that 25 we've just worked with. So that means we need to divide the answer we got of 275 by 10 in order to get it to the same level. So if we divide it by 10, that takes it down to 27.5. Remember all the digits, move one place to the right when you divide by 10. Or you can think there's one number after the decimal point here, there's one number after decimal point in your answer. They will always be the same. From here, we've got to work out the total height. So we know 8 feet is 240 centimetres.
11 inches is 27.5 centimetres, so we need to add these together. So the 40 plus the 20 is 60. That gives me 267.5, and that answer needs to get written in here. Your working or your method that you've done here will give you 1 mark, and you'll get 2 marks for getting the final answer. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows it's up to 2M, 2 method marks for the correct answer of 267.5 or 267.5. For the correct method of using 30 times 8 and then 2.5 times 11 and trying to add them, that is 1 mark. You're allowed 1 error. Same here. You could do it a different way by doing 30 divided by 2.5 to give you 12. Then do 8 times 12 plus 11. Or if you made a mistake on it, then you can get it right. And then there's another way of doing it, working out 12 inches and then taking off 12 inches is in 1 foot. So then you can work out 9 feet and then take away 1 inch. But this last method here involves you knowing that there are 12 inches in 1 foot, which a lot of children probably don't know these days. So I would recommend the top method up here. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on fraction of a shape. The key words in the question are you're told that you have got a hexagon. Not any hexagon, a regular hexagon. And you're told that the area of the large shaded triangle is double the area of the small shaded triangle, which means this is the large triangle down here at the bottom, and this is the small shaded triangle above. The area of the small one is half of this one underneath, or the one underneath is double what is above here. And you've got to work out what fraction of the whole hexagon is the shaded area. And you need to write your answer in the box here for 1 mark. Now your key facts. You need to know that the word regular means that all the sides and all the angles are the same. So of this hexagon, going around the outside here, this regular hexagon, all the sides of this shape are exactly the same length. And consequently, all the angles in between are the same as well. You need to know that a hexagon is a 6-sided shape. Now there's a little way to help you remember that a hexagon is a 6-sided shape. Now hexagon has got an X in it, and if you spell out the word 6, S-I-X, it has also got an X in. So that's a way to help you remember that hexagon and 6 is a 6-sided shape. Now the word area means the space inside the shape. So the area of this triangle here is that coloured in section that you can see at the top. That's what the area is. And to find the fraction shaded, you need to work out the total number of coloured sections divided by the total number of sections. And all those sections must be exactly the same size to work out the fraction shaded. So to be able to do this, we're going to work out how many different sections we've got in total. So I want you to press pause, have a go at working out the total number of sections, work out how many sections are coloured, and then see if you can work out what fraction has been shaded. Fantastic. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. Great work. Well done. To start with, we're going to draw in some extra lines of symmetry to help us see how many sections there are in total. So if I draw a line down the middle here, you can see that this triangle at the top, okay, if it comes down here, I've now got 2 triangles, so the shape underneath is double the shape above, which is what you've been told in the question. So I can see in total I've got 1, 2, 3 triangles that are shaded. So that is the number that are coloured. So we've now got to work out how many triangles would be in this entire shape altogether. So if I draw in some more lines of symmetry, so cut it across the middle, and then colouring across this line here, I've got all the main diagonals. This one over here has already been drawn in for me. From here you can see we're going between the middle of each of the long straight edges. So here along the middle I've come down here, so I need to do the same on the other 2 sides until all the sections have got equal triangles in each section. So we now need to count those up. So at the top we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on one half. We can keep counting round or just double 6 to get 12. So there'll be 12 sections in total. So that is my total number of sections that goes underneath. I've got 3 of them that are coloured in, so that goes at the top. The 12 goes underneath, so my answer is 3 over 12 for 1 mark. Now you could cancel that down in the exam and write that as 1 over 4, but the mark scheme will allow 3 over 12 as the correct answer. So you don't need to worry about cancelling down the answer, you can just leave it in this form here. But if you'd written 3 over 12 or 1 over 4, you were correct with either of those answers. Give yourself a big tick if you got it correct, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 3 over 12, and it says over here that accept equivalent fractions, e.g. 1/4. The reason 1/4 is the same as 3 over 12 is because if we divide the 3 by 3, we get 1, and if I divide 12 by 3, I get 4. So 3/12 is the same as 1/4, and that will give you 1m, which means 1 method mark in the exam. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a percentage problem. We're told in the question we've got some key words. So we're told we've got a small box of cereal contains 650 grams. And you can see that in the diagram here. Here's the box with 650 grams in. We've got a larger box, which is sat next to it, which has got 20% more cereal than the smaller box. We're told that one portion of cereal is 40 grams. And you're asked to work out how many full portions there are in this large box. So how many bowls of cereal can you get out of this large box? It says you must show your working, so the method must be shown here, and you've got to write your answer in the box, and this will give you 2 marks in the exam. So our key facts. We need to know how to find 10%. Now the reason we need to find 10% is ultimately because we've been asked to find 20% to work out the size of this big box here. So to start with, we always find 10%, and we're going to divide the amount that has been given, so that is divided this 650 grams by 10. Now to divide by 10, we just need to move the digits one place to the right. So the digits of 650, they've all got to move one place to the right, and that will divide the number by 10. Once we've found 10%, we need to work out 20%. Now to work out 20%, we need to multiply the answer you've just worked out to the 10% by 2, or double your answer to the 10%. So whatever answer you got up here for 10%, you need to double it or times it by 2. Then you need to work out 20% more. Now this word more means add. So we've got to add 20% to the initial amount. So the answer you got for 20%, you need to add that onto the 650, and that will work out how many grams there are in this large box. Now, ultimately, we need to find how many full portions are in the large box. So we should know how many grams there are in the full box, and we know one portion is 40 grams. So if you divide the total amount of grams in the cereal box by the 40, that will work out how many portions you need. Just be careful, think about how many full portions there are, because it might not be an exact answer. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, well done. So to start with, we're going to find 10% of 650. And up here, I've said the fact to find 10% is to divide by 10. So we're going to take the digits of 650 and we're going to move them one place to the right. So the 6 in the hundreds column is going to move to the tens column. The 5 in the tens column is going to move to the ones column. And the 0 in the ones column is going to move past the decimal point into the tenths column. But we can ignore that point 0. So 650 divided by 10 is 65, which is the same as just taking the 0 off the end of the 650. Now I've got 10%, we need to work out 20%. So we need to double this number here or multiply it by 2. So double 60 is 120, double 5 is 10, 120 plus 10 is 130, so that is 20%. But the question says the large box contains 20% more. So that is 20% more. So 20% we know is 130. So that's 130 grams more than the 650. So I need to add those two numbers together. So 650 plus 130, we've got 50 plus 30, which is 80. 600 plus 100 is 700, so I've got 780. Now, 780 is the number of grams inside this large box, but we need to know how many portions there are from this large box, and each portion is 40 grams. So I've got to divide 780 by 40. Now, I can make this sum easier by dividing both the numbers by 10. So dividing 780 by 10, I get 78, and dividing 40 by 10, I get 4. So 780 divided by 40 is the same as 78 divided by 4. Now you can use the bus stop at either stage here to help us work out the answer, or an alternative method to divide by 4 is halving the number and halving it again. So we're going to go with the halving option rather than using bus stop, but if you prefer to use bus stop, feel free to use that method. So we've got 70. Half of 70 is 35. Half of 8 is 4. So we've got 35 plus 4, which is 39. So if I halve 78, I get 39. I now need to halve that 39, so 39 divided by 2, to then work out the answer to 78 divided by 4. So half of 30 is 15. Half of 9 is 4.5. 4.5 plus 15 is 19.5, and that is the same as 780 divided by 40 is 9.5, and that will give you 1 mark in your exam. Now it wants to know how many full portions. Now this 0.5 doesn't quite take us to a full amount, so we have to round down. So we're just going to look at the 19. So we have got 19 portions to get the second mark. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows we are up to 2M, which means up to 2 method marks. The final answer was 19 that you can see here. Here's the 19. Here is method marks for getting 1 mark. So using either of these methods here will give you 1 mark, or getting down to the value of 19.5 or 19.5 will also give you 1 mark as well. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a percentage problem question. You're told the key parts of the question that you've got 1,200 pupils. And you're told that they're asked a question, but to be honest with you, that question is irrelevant. The important bit of information is what is shown in the chart. So this pie chart that you can see here is what is really important. So you're told that this section here is not important, and that's equivalent to 12%. This section here is quite important, and this is 41%. This section here is very important, and you don't know how big that is. But you've got to work out how many pupils are very important. So this very important section is the bit we're interested in, and we've got to work out how many pupils. And we need to write that answer in this box here, and that will give me 1 mark in the exam. But to help us do that, we need to know the following key facts. So we need to know that 100% is for the total. So the whole pie chart represents 100%. So we've got 2 sections here. What is the missing percentage to take it up to 100? Once you've got that, you need to work out what this missing percentage is going to be of the total number of students, which is 1,200. So this diagram here represents 1,200 students, which is the total 100%. Once you've got this amount, you need to find 10% of the 1,200 by divided by 10. Once you've got 10%, you'll be able to work out 1%. Remember, to find 10%, you need to move all your digits 1 place to the right. So all these numbers here in the 1,200 are going to move 1 place to the right. And to find 1%, we divide the answer you've just got for 10% by 10 again to find 1%. Now, once you've got 10 and 1%, you can work out any possible percentage. So, for example, if it was 23%, You double the 10% to find 20%, multiply the 1% by 3, add those two answers together to give you 23%, just for an example. So you've got to find your required percentage by adding the amounts together. You might need to do some multiplying first and then do some adding. Just pause, see if you can work out how many pupils there are in total, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, guys, so well done. So to start with, we're going to look at working out what the total percentage is. So if I've got my 12% plus my 41%, 2 plus 1 is 3, 10 plus 40 is 50, so that is 53%, is this two sections here. So you can see it's slightly over half. Now we know the total percentage on the pie chart is over 100, so we've got to do 100 take away this 53, which gives me 47. You can do it using the column method if you need to, or you could just do 100 take away 50 is 50, take away 3 takes you down to 47. Now we need to work out 47% of 1,200, so that's our missing percentage, 47%. So we're first of all going to find 10% of 1,200. So 1,200 divided by 10, the 1 in the thousands column moves to the hundreds column, the 2 in the hundreds column moves to the ones column, and the zeros move down, leaving me with 120. All that is the same as taking this last zero off the end. Once I've got 10%, I can work out 40%. So multiplying this answer here, 120 by 4, will give me 40%. Multiplying, you can use the column method or grid method, whichever you prefer, or you can do it in your head. So 100 times 4 is 400, 20 times 4 is 80, so I've got 400 plus 80, which is just going to be 480. Going back to this answer for 10%, I'm going to find 1%. So to find 1% of 1,200, I'm going to take this answer of 120 and divide it by 10. So 120 divided by 10, remember all the digits move one place to the right, so the 1 from the hundreds moves to the tens, the 2 from the tens moves to the ones, so I've now got the number 12. Once I've got 1%, I can work out the 7%, so I need to multiply this number by 7. Again, you should know 12 times 7 off the top of your head if you've been doing all your TT Rockstar questions. So 2 times 7 is 14, 1 times 7 is 7, or 10 times 7 is 70. 70 plus 14 is 84, but it is a number you should know. 12 times 7 is 84. Now the question says how many pupils answered very important. So we know very important was 47%. So we've got a 7%, which is 84, and we have got a 40%, which is 480. So if I add together 480 plus the 84 we got before, then that will give me my answer for 47%, which is this gap here, what is very important. So we should look at this. We've got a 4 on the end, so that's nice and easy, the 4. I've got an 80 plus an 80, which is 160, so we've got a 6 in here. 400 plus the 100 gives me 500, so I've got 564. Remember to write your answer in the box provided. This will give you 1 mark in the exam. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 564 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get greater at maths. This is a number problem. The key words in the question are you're told that you have got 25 sheets of paper in a small pack. And you can see the small pack on the left-hand side here, even though it doesn't look any smaller than the one on the right. You're told that there are 500 sheets in the large pack, which is this box over here on the right. And you're asked to work out how many small packs make one larger pack. You need to write your answer in this box here, and this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Your key facts to help you answer this question. You need to look for a link between the two numbers. So what is the link between 25 and 500 to help you work out how many lots of 25 fit into this 500? So how many small packs are there in the large pack? So you need to look for the patterns in the number to see how many times it will fit inside it. Or you can just divide. Press pause, have a go at dividing, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So we're going to look at dividing 500 by 25, or seeing how many times 25 fits into 500, because we want to know how many times this small one goes into the large one. Now we know that 25 sheets is equal to one small one. Now this has got the number 50 in it, and we should know that double 25 is 50. So if I double 25, I get 50. So doubling 1, I get 2. So that means 2 small boxes or 2 small packs is equal to 50 sheets. But we've actually got 500 sheets. So if I take this 50 and multiply it by 10, that will give me 500. So that means I need to multiply this 2 by 10 to give me 20. So 20 small ones is equivalent to 500 sheets, which is the number of sheets in a large one. So your answer is 20. You could also do it by dividing. So you could say, how many times does 25 go into 500? Now 25 doesn't fit into 5. So we put a 0 above. How many is left over is this 5 here, which is always the same as this first number here. Next it's 25 into 50. Now 25 fits into 50 twice, and then I'm looking at 25 into 0 goes 0. So again, my answer is 20. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 20 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. In this question, we've got a number problem, and the keywords in the question are we're told we have got 500 sheets in the large pack, which you can see over here. You're told that the mass of the paper in the large pack is 2.4 kilograms, and you're asked to work out the mass of one sheet of paper in grams. You can see your answer here needs to be put down here in grams, so G for grams. On the left-hand side, it says show your method. That means write down your working. How do you get the answer that you're going to write in this box here? And it will give you 2 marks in the exam. Your key facts. You need to remember that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. If you're converting from kilograms into grams, because we've got 2.4 kilograms, we're going to have to convert into grams, you need to multiply by 1,000. And remember, to multiply by 1,000, you need to move all the digits 3 places to the left to make the number larger. So all these digits are going to move 1, 2, 3 places to the left, and you need to keep the decimal point in the same point. From here, you need to work out what is the mass of one sheet of paper. Press pause, have a go at working out the mass, press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So to start with, we know that 2.4 kilograms is going to be 2.4 times by 1,000. Now the digits move 3 places to the left, so 1, 2, 3. That takes me to the thousands column. The 4 moves 3 places to the left, which will take me to the hundreds column, and then 2 zeros in the gap, and that is 2,400 grams. So we've got 2,400 grams is equivalent to 500 sheets, and I want to know what one sheet is. So we have got to do 2,400 grams divided by the number of sheets, which is 500. Now to work this out in your head and without a calculator, it's quite tricky. But if you notice, this one has got 2 zeros on the end, and this number's got 2 zeros on the end, which means we can divide both these numbers by 100. If I divide them by 100, both these zeros disappear, and these numbers zeros disappear, leaving me with 24 divided by 5, which is a much more manageable sum. Remember, you can use short division to do this, so 5 can come at the front and 24 outside. So we say 5 into 2 doesn't go, so we put a 0 up here. Then I'm going to put the remainder here, or what's left is the 2. It's always the same as this number. 5 into 24, 4 5s are 20, and there are 4 left over. But because we've got to the end of a number, we can actually put 0.0 on the end, We know there are going to be 4 left over. We need to remember to put the decimal point above because the decimal point will always stay in the same point. Our remainder was 4 because 4 times 5 was 20. To get to 24, there's 4 left. And then I'm going to do 5 into 40, which is 8. So I've got 4.8. That is your answer that needs to get written in the box here. You would get 1 mark for showing you're working, for doing the method that you can see over here, and then your second mark would be for the answer of 4.8. Give yourself a big tick if you got it correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows it's up to 2m, which means 2 method marks, for getting the answer of 4.8. If you did this calculation down below, so 2.4 times 1,000, and you made a mistake in that answer because you didn't multiply by 1,000 correctly, you would still get a method mark for doing that and then dividing it by 500. Or similarly, if you worked in kilograms, so 2.4 divided by 500 and then converted that into grams afterwards. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on using a formula, and you're told that the mass is equal to 2 times the age in years plus 5, where this is in brackets. You're told that the age of the sister is 4 years old, and you've got to use this formula that is in this box to estimate, and that means work out her mass. So what is the mass given that the age is equal to 4? So you've got to do some substituting. The answer needs to get written in the box here, and that will give you 1 mark. Next, you've got to work out, or you've been told the mass of the brother is 16 kilograms, so that means this side is equal to 16, and you've got to work out the age. So 16 is equal to this equation here, but how old is the brother? You've got to write your answer in here. Again, it is worth 1 mark. So each of these questions here is worth 1 mark. You've got to work out the mass, and then you've got to work out the age. So your key facts are that you need to use BIDMAS. The B stands for brackets, the I stands for indices. Now in this question there are no indices. We do have brackets that you can see here around the age and then the 5. So we have got brackets, no indices, which are your powers like squared. D stands for divide. There is no divide in this question. M stands for multiply. You can see you've got to multiply here. A stands for add. There is an add in the question, but that is included within the bracket, so the B overtakes that value. And the S stands for subtract, and we don't have the subtract in the question. So what we're going to need to use is the brackets first, and then we've got to multiply our answer by 2. That's how we're going to do the first part. For the second part, we know the mass is 16. So to work out the age, we've got to work backwards. And to work backwards, we must do the opposite. So you need to know that the opposite of multiply is divide, and the opposite of add is subtract. So when we worked forward, we did the brackets and then we multiplied. Going backwards, we do the opposite of multiply, which was divide, then we do the subtract. Okay, because in the brackets was add, so we're going to do the opposite, which was subtract. Press pause, have a go at working out the 2 answers, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work. So to start with on this question here, we know this sister is 4 years old, so I'm going to replace the age in years with 4. 4 plus 5 is 9, times it by 2 gives me 2 times by 9. We can remove the brackets here because we've worked out the answer to 4 plus 5, and if the brackets were there, it would still be exactly the same as 2 times 9, or just written like you can see here. 2 times 9 is double 9, which is 18, and you need to write that in the box here for 1 mark. Now we've got to work backwards, so we're told the mass is equal to 16. So if you put 16 equal to 2 times the age plus 5, we can now work out the age. So we've got to do the opposite. So we did the brackets, then we multiplied. So instead of multiplying, we're going to do the opposite of multiply, which is divide. So we've got a times by 2 here, so we're first going to do the opposite to times by 2, which is divide by 2. So I've got to divide the 16 by 2, and I've got to divide the 2 by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8, and when I divide this side by 2, this times by 2 disappears, leaving just what's in the bracket, the age plus 5. Next we did the multiply, which changed to a divide. Then we did the brackets, which had the add in it, so we've got to do the opposite of adding, which is subtracting. So the opposite, to get rid of this plus 5 here, we have to subtract 5 from both sides. So 8 take away 5 is 3. 5 take away 5 is nothing, leaving me with the age equaling to 3. And that needs to get written in this box here. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answers to 18 and 3 for 1 mark each. So 1M means 1 mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to share, like and subscribe. Please follow Get Great at Maths on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and X. What do you want to see next on Get Great at Maths? Please comment below. See you next time.